I'm at 1561 Park Place. So I'm gonna do a video of the exterior, the basement, and the rear exterior. So the railings over here, they all look like they're in really good shape. The sidewalk looks like it was redone up to there. This was done previously, right? The steps look like they just have a little bit of spalling, you know, a little bit of the concrete cover, the screed is coming loose. The overhead lights for the front door aren't working. There's no doorbell. So the brick looks like it could use some repointing. That's the mortar in between the bricks. You can see that it's missing in quite a few areas, right? Especially up there. So you would definitely benefit from repointing. The architectural cornice over here looks like it could use painting. And then the pitch of the concrete looks good on this end over here. So I've got the steps that go to the downstairs. Right, so you can see that there's parging over here that's coming loose. So perhaps you want to reparge this. Reparge this. You've got some peeling paint that should be removed. These little areas over here could use some pointing, some sealing, right? It's unfinished. Same thing over here, it's unfinished. You're gonna want to seal this stuff up. There's the light for the exterior. It's not going on over here. It might be just a bulb. This is the clean out for the main sewer line. So if you need to snake the sewer from the house to the street, that's where you would do it. They have a little drain for the bottom of the steps over there. They've redone the form over here. They re-poured that. Over here, you can see the foundation. It's all brick, right? And you're missing pointing in the brick over here. So you could see the pointing over here is sort of exposed up to the brick. And then you've got areas where I could stick my finger in. That should have been repointed, okay? They refinished this wall and it doesn't look like they repointed that brick before they did it. You see down in here, you could see spaces in the brick. So that would have been really good if they did that. The only way to now repoint that would be to remove the sheetrock, you know, so you could get potentially some water intrusion back over there. I guess you'll just deal with it if it ever becomes an issue. You know, right now it's all dry and the pitch for the concrete is good, so hopefully you won't have any problems. You can see they have a gas meter over here. This is your gas shutoff. If you ever want to shut the gas, you just turn this hole so that it lines up with this hole. That'll shut the gas. Looks like they had a secondary gas meter over here that's since been removed. So, you know, the selling agent represented that this is a legal two-family, according to all the documents on the home, but it is configured as a one-family right now. With that being said, it looks like they added a gas line. I'm guessing probably to accommodate an oven at some point. So the listing agent represented that there is plumbing back behind this wall, but there's no access panel, so you'd have to ask them where exactly they put it, so you're not, you know, opening walls for no reason. Over here is the main water line coming in. You can see your ground rod connection right there, and the water pipe connection for the electrical. This is a main shutoff for your water right over here. I don't see a meter. I don't see a pressure regulator. So that's something that is probably going to have to be installed. Here's another shut off for the gas. This is where the gas line actually enters. So again, you could line up this hole with this hole, and that turns it off. Anytime you have gas or plumbing, when the valve is going the same way as the pipe, it's open. When it's perpendicular, it's closed. So if you want to fix that, shut it, you can shut it. You have an access panel there. You have the main electric coming in over here. This is the meter. It's not a smart meter. So someone probably will have to come in to read this. You have your hot, neutral, and ground coming in over here. The white is the ground, the black is the neutral, and the red is the hot. And you can see the red is not connected to the lug. Instead, they jumped from the neutral to the hot. So that should be corrected before closing. You have a couple of breakers that are turned off. They are not marked. Typically, whenever you do new electrical, everything's supposed to be labeled in the panel. So that's something that should be labeled and turned on. You can see that they left a lot of the old floor joists. They were a little bit uneven, it looks to me, so they sistered some wood to make the plywood straight above it. They did replace one joist over there. Looks like they replaced the main beam over here is metal. Right, you can see they put a new piece of wood over here, and they sistered it to an older piece of wood, which it looks like it has some termite damage over there and some rot, but it doesn't look like it's terrible. So you can see some of the rot. I probed it, and it doesn't look like it's really coming apart, but definitely at some point there was probably some moisture and water getting in here, which made it wet and allowed some insects to get in here and do some damage. But generally speaking, it looks fine. Green board, which is a water resistant sheetrock. Looks like it was used for the basement. You can see more of the green board over here. This looks like it's enclosed pretty good. So you do have some steps over here. You're just gonna have to be careful because it's all white. So someone might not notice and you run the risk of tripping. You've got this little closet area under the steps. I don't see any microbial growth, which is good. I tested all the outlets over here. Everything seems to be working fine. You have a thermostat, which is for the baseboards down over here. Right, you have a bathroom down over here, so it's just a toilet, a sink. You have the ground floor turbine interrupter over here, and that works fine. This is your boiler room. So to accommodate the sink and the toilet, the water drains it down under the floor to this waste ejector pump. Right? So this is completely sealed in. This is for what they refer to as black water, which means that it has poop and pee, and it pumps it up into the sewer line. So, to make sure that the pump is working, you can take this down for 1 second. So you can unplug that piece and just plug in the back one, and you can hear the pump is working. So I'll put this down again. Just put this assembly back together. And so we know that pump is working. You have a combination hot water condensing boiler and water heater. So these are really good. You know, you've got a couple different zones, right? You see you've got 3 zones over here. So I'm guessing it's basement, first floor, second floor. They say A, B, C. So those are your zone controls right over there. Got an expansion tank because it's a hot water system. So, you know, this stuff, it all looks good, you know. This will discharge condensation. It runs it through a neutralizer so that it doesn't, you don't have any acidic reactions in your sewer line, and then that runs down into the sewer line right over there. You have a fire rated door. And the combustion air goes it only takes from that room the combustion air. So that's something that probably should have been improved. Because if you close this steel door, it doesn't have any louvers. There might not be enough combustion air to make a fire, but the vent pipe does go to the outside. So this is the back door. You can see they added a drain over here. You're gonna want to ask them where that drain goes to. Right, you can see they reformed these steps to make them a little nicer. Again, you know, they didn't finish any of these areas. These are all open over here. So you're gonna want to seal all this stuff up. All right, repoint the brick before you barge it. The doors, not quite sure if these are new or if they're just painted. You can see that they're bent a little bit, and the doors don't really stay open. They open, but they don't lock into the open position. So that's typically what it's supposed to do. And so they did all stucco on the outside, right? And that looks really good. They've got a gutter up there. Downspout comes down and it discharges the water below the grade. You can see they broke up the concrete over here and they made a little drain. You got to make sure you keep this drain clear because they made this concrete over here level with the window, and you can have water that runs down over here and into around the window. I guess that's why they have all that expansion foam over there. So that's something you're going to want to keep an eye on. Probably really should have been pitched a little bit away or made a window well over here with a little drain on it that connected to this drain. The railings look like they're in good shape. The step treads are a little bit high, you know, but you don't have to correct that. This is the vent for the boiler / water heater. They put new fencing sections up. Probably would have been a better idea to conceal that extension piece, you know, further along on the back side. Probably would have made more sense, but they just put it there. So hopefully that'll stay together. The AC units, he mentioned, the selling agent mentioned that it has to be inspected, the 240 lines. So they're waiting for that. Right now there's no AC in the house. So he said that'll be up and running prior to closing. You have the old chimney, I guess, for the boiler that used to run over here. That's no longer being used because now they turned and put the boiler on a high efficiency PVC pipe that just extends right out over there. So maybe you want to just put some caps on the flue pipes since they're not being used anymore. I'm going to take videos of the first floor, second floor, and the roof, and I'll send it all over to you. All right, if you have any questions, just give me a call.